Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome students. This is English grammar lesson. In today's topic is transitive and intransitive verb. Before going to start, I would like to share objectives of today's lesson. You will be able to use transitive and intransitive verbs. You will be able to identify transitive and intransitive verbs in sentences and know about subject-verb agreement. Now first I'll discuss transitive verb. A sentence with a transitive verb has a subject, a verb, and a direct object. Now first I'll discuss what is direct object. A direct object is a person or thing that is acted upon by the subject. For example, Tom is writing a letter. In this sentence, Tom is a subject, writing is a verb, a letter is direct object. In this sentence, the verb writing receives direct object in the form of a letter. So this verb is considered as a transitive verb. A verb that receives direct object is called transitive verb. Another example, he is eating a burger. A burger is a direct object. Mark is playing what? Mark is playing football. So football is a direct object. Here a question raises that how we find a direct object in a sentence. There is a tip that is helpful in identification of a direct object in a sentence, and the tip is the subject and verb in a sentence followed by the question what or whom. There are two possibilities of this question, that if the answer is the direct object, and in this case the verb is transitive. But if there is no answer, there is no direct object. In this case, the verb is intransitive. For example, Ali is eating a sandwich. Let's ask a question. Ali is eating what or whom? The answer is sandwich. So, sandwich is the direct object. Therefore, eating is transitive verb. Let's have another example. John is sleeping. Let's ask a question. John is sleeping what or whom? There is no answer. In fact, the question doesn't really make any sense. So since there is no answer, that means there is no direct object. Therefore, sleeping is intransitive verb. I hope now you will be able to identify the direct object in a sentence. Now I'll discuss intransitive verb. A sentence with an intransitive verb only has subject and a verb. The subject is a person or thing that is doing the action. For example, she is smiling. So she is a person doing the action and the action is smiling. So here the verb smiling is intransitive because the sentence is based on subject she and a verb smiling. Let's have another example. He is sleeping. He is a person doing the action and the action is sleeping. So here the verb sleeping is intransitive verb. Intransitive verbs often describe the physical behavior or movement. For example, Sana is laughing. Imran is walking. So there is another key feature of intransitive verb. Prepositional phrases or adverbial phrases are often used after intransitive verb. For example, Imran is walking to the office. To the office is a preposition of phrase. Be careful, this is not a direct object. Now question raises that how we know that this is not a direct object. Imran is walking what? So there is no answer. Imran is walking whom? There is no answer. So since there is no answer, there is no direct object. To the office simply tells us where Imran is walking. So there is not direct object. Okay. Let's have another example. The door opened slowly. We can also use an adverb slowly. This is an adverb of manner. It tells us how something happened. Here we are saying the door opened slowly. So again, this is not a direct object because we can ask this question: the door opened what? No answer. The door opened whom? Again, no answer. So the verb is intransitive. We often use prepositional phrases and adverbial phrases with intransitive verbs simply to give us more information about the action. There is a special type of transitive verb called the transitive verb. The transitive verb has two objects, direct object and indirect object. In previous slides, I have discussed direct object in detail. Now I'll discuss indirect object. An indirect object indicates the person or thing that receives the direct object. It is a noun, a pronoun. It always follows an action verb. It is usually found between the action verb and the direct object. But there is another case. It is also found as a part of preposition phrase. In this case, the indirect object comes after the direct object. Let me explain these both cases with the help of examples. Example number 1. She is giving me an apple. In this example, first identify the direct object with the test question. She is giving what? The answer is apple. So apple is direct object. Now who or what receive an apple? The answer is me. Therefore me is called indirect object. Now notice the order of this example. First comes the subject she, then verb giving, then indirect object first me, and then direct object an apple. In this example, the indirect object comes between the action verb and the direct object. Let me explain another example. Ali gave the bread to Sana. Ali gave what? The answer is bread. So bread is direct object. Who received the bread? The answer is Sana. So Sana is indirect object. Look at the order of this example. First comes the subject Ali, then action verb gave, then direct object bread, and then indirect object Sana. In this example, indirect object comes after the direct object. In this case, or we can say that in this form, indirect object also called as prepositional object. I hope you comprehend well the difference between transitive, intransitive, and the transitive verb. There are some verbs that can be transitive or intransitive with the same meaning. Let me explain with different examples. The first example is the door opened. In this sentence, the verb opened is intransitive because there is no direct object. But on the other hand, I opened the door is transitive because in this sentence, the verb opened receives the direct object in the form of the door. So, the meaning of the open is same. Example number 2. Tom is reading. Intransitive. Tom is reading a book. Transitive. So, the action of reading is the same. Children are playing. Intransitive. Last night we played cards. Transitive. Because we have the object cards. So, the overall general meaning of play is the same. Means to enjoy yourself, to do an activity. So there are some verbs that can be transitive or intransitive with a different meaning. There is one example with the verb sit. In intransitive verb we can see Imran is sitting on a chair, and the meaning simply describes the physical position, sitting on a chair. But the transitive meaning of sit is very different. For example, Imran is sitting an exam. This means Imran is taking an exam. So you can say same verb sit changes its meanings completely from one it is intransitive to one it is transitive. That is why this lesson is so important to understand the difference between transitive and intransitive. Here there is an advice for you. When you learn, hear, or see a new verb, look for it in the dictionary. Look carefully in the dictionary all the definitions. Let's have an example with the verb run. There are two main definitions of this verb. The first one is when we look in the dictionary, it tells us it is a verb and gives definition to move quickly, faster than walking. I hope you all understand this definition. Look carefully. Dictionary tells us with the letter I that this is an intransitive use and meaning. With this information, we know a sentence has this form. Imran is running. So the second definition is to manage something, to organize something. Dictionary tells us with the letter T that this is a transitive use and meaning. So we must use direct object for this meaning. For example, Imran runs a hotel. I hope you understand this point because a single verb has different shades of meaning. There is a practice exercise. First, you understand the concept of transitive and intransitive verb and listen the tutorial attentively. Then you will be able to solve this practice exercise in which you decide whether the verbs in bold are transitive or intransitive. You have to do this exercise on loose sheet. Now, this brings us to an end of this lesson. I hope you comprehend well the concept of transitive and intransitive verb. Thank you.